Hello everyone. We're going to read the book Beware of Storybook Wolves with Herb, the boy whose book came to life. It was written by Lauren Child and the publishers are Orchid Books. Now, if you have a look on the inside of the cover, you can see the story that Herb and his mother has been reading. We're not going to read that today. We're going to read their story. You can see them reading here, Herb and his mother. Every night, Herb's mother would read him a bedtime story. Sometimes it was about a big wolf who terrified little girls and their grandmothers with his chilling growl and his big yellow teeth. You could tell from the picture that toothpaste had never been on his shopping list. The story got very nasty in the middle and everybody nearly came to a sticky end. But by the last page, it had all turned out well and went happily ever after. It was one of Herb's favourites. He particularly liked the book back cover that had a picture of a smaller wolf with a patch over one eye and the words, "For a real thrill, try reading the story of the little wolf and the three little pigs. It'll scare your socks off." It scared my socks off. Quote from Cinderella. I couldn't sleep after reading this Rumpelstiltskin. It was a real thrill reading this story, A Woodcutter. And there's Mum, and there's the back cover of the book. Whenever his mother finished his bedtime story, Herb would say, "Don't forget to take the book with you." And his mother would say, "Why?" "Because there's a wolf in it, of course," Herb would say. Herb's mother would smile to herself because she knew that storybook wolves are not at all dangerous. One night, just as they were finishing a wolf story, the telephone rang. In her hurry, Herb's mother forgot all about taking the book with her. Look at this. Look at these eyes. Herb didn't realise at first, but as he was snoozing off, he thought he heard a deep rumbling sound coming from his bedside table. It was like the rumbling of a very hungry tummy, or perhaps even two hungry tummies. Then he began to smell, a not so very nice smell, a sort of bad breath type of smell. Herb got a funny feeling that two or maybe even three eyes were watching him. Unwisely, he switched on the light. Look. Look who we can see. And there, standing in front, was a big storybook wolf, and next to him was the other storybook wolf with a patch over one eye. Herb recognised him as a book cover wolf. Big Wolf said in a low, greedy voice. "I thought I could smell something tasty. I'm going to gobble you up, little boy." And he started licking his chops. "Oh, can I have the little pink toes? They look just like piglets," said the little wolf. And he tried to lick his chops, but he wasn't very good at it and just ended up dribbling on the floor. "I wouldn't eat me yet," stammered Herb, desperately trying to think of a plan to distract the wolves from wolfing him. "Why not?" said the bad big wolf, giving him a sideways stare. "Yes, why not?" said little wolf, trying to give him a sideways stare. Because little boys are for pudding. You have to start with starters, of course." "I didn't know that," said Big Wolf. "Really?" said Herb, feeling a little bit pleased with his own craftiness. "I thought everybody knew that." "Oh, I knew that," said Little Wolf. "No, you did not," said the big, slightly less fierce than before wolf. "Yes, I certainly did," said Little Wolf, puffing himself up. "Well, if you're so clever, then what's starters?" blustered Big Wolf. You could tell Little Wolf hadn't ever heard of Stardust before. Not wishing to sound stupid, he shouted, "Jelly! Jelly is for starters. Everybody knows that." Then Big Wolf and Little Wolf looked at Herb and said, "Where's the jelly?" Jelly. Where was a jelly? Herb's mind was whirling like a frantic thing. Then he caught sight of the book of his fairy tales. He had been looking at it last night, and it was lying open on the page where the dozy princess falls asleep at her own birthday party. Look, she's asleep. No one at the table would notice if he borrowed jelly. They were all snoozing and tired of waiting for Princess Beautiful to wake up. Oh, I wonder what fairy tale that reminds you of. Herb was so busy struggling to slide the jelly off the page, he didn't notice the wicked fairy, wide awake and hiding under the table. See some shoes there under the table? Hiding under the table. She had been listening to every word. This was bad luck for Herb, because the wicked fairy hated little boys only slightly less than she hated little girls. They had made her very nervous. She had seen what those little brats, Hansel and Gretel, had done to that poor defenceless witch. Not only did they nibble her cottage half to pieces, but then they went and shoved it in the oven. Children put her in a very bad mood indeed. Herb trying to sneak the jelly off the table. "Oh, you dozy doormats, don't you know anything?" snarled Fairy. "You wolf half-wits give wickedness a bad name. He tricked you, you twerps. Little boys are starters. Jelly is pudding." And with that, the wicked fairy jumped back into the book and snapped it shut. First, the wolves went almost purple in their cheeks with embarrassment. Then their eyes went all mean and squinty. I wonder what's going to happen next. Herb could tell things had taken a turn really quite bad, so he snatched up the fairy book, found a page with a fairy godmother, and shook her until she tumbled out of the book and then on the floor. She was a bit cross, actually, because her dress got rumpled and nearly twisted her ankle. "Well," she said, "I've got a good mood to turn you into a caterpillar, little boy." "No," said Herb, "don't turn me into a caterpillar. It's those two who need to be caterpillars." "Oh, no, not you two again," said the godmother, spying the two alarm wolves, "always making trouble, blowing people's houses down and gobbling them up without so much as a 'do you mind.'" There she is. As she said this, she accidentally waved her wand at the little wolf and the smoke went poof, just like in the fairy tales. And suddenly there was Little Wolf standing in a ball gown. Look at the ball gown. Oh dear, this will never do," said Fairy Godmother, shaking her head. "That dress was meant for Cinderella. You shook me out of the book just as I was about to send her to the ball. Awfully nice dress, though. I have an eye for fashion, as you can probably tell, but not at all suitable for a wolf." Little Wolf took one look in the mirror and was so pleased with his new look that he jumped into the fairy tale book and went to the ball himself. Which, of course, left Cinderella having a night in cleaning the kitchen after all. "Oh, well, that's that then," sighed the fairy godmother. "I'm not going to be popular at the palace now. I don't know what the king and queen are going to say when a wolf turns up at the ball to dance with their son. I imagine they'll be very grumpy about it. I do hope he doesn't start snacking on the guests." The fairy godmother was so engrossed with her own problems that she hadn't noticed that the big wolf was poised, ready to swallow Herb in one gulp. Poor Herb. screeched Herb. Quick as a quick thing, the fairy godmother whooshed a wand, and the big wolf turned into a tiny caterpillar. "Oh, I do like caterpillars," said the fairy godmother, popping it back into the wolf storybook. "They're so undemanding, never bothering me for things like frogs, always thinking they're princes. What's more, I really have had enough of being squashed inside a book, doing favours for spoilt princesses. I'm going to take a holiday, somewhere far away from royalty." And in a sudden twinkle, sequins, she disappeared. Before Herb got back into bed, he piled up all his books and then put the heaviest thing he could think of on top, just in case anyone else was tempted to get out of his story. Oh, then he switched off the light and dreamed of fierce caterpillars, fashionable wolves, and grouchy godmothers. The funny thing was, the next time Herb's mother came to read the wolf a story, there was no wolf to be seen, just a tiny caterpillar, trying with all his might to terrify a little girl in a red coat. The end. I hope you liked our story.